Hello and welcome to View from the Top. A short while ago I interviewed Lee McIntyre, who's the Chief Executive of CH2M Hill, the civil engineering, contracting and project management company. It's involved in a large number of very big projects all around the world, including the widening of the Panama Canal, delivering the facilities for the 2012 London Olympics and modernising the sewerage systems in London and Abu Dhabi. It's also running a huge project to relocate US Army bases in South Korea. I asked him first about the pressure on public finances around the world and whether that was having an effect on infrastructure projects.
That's under stress, so I think there'll be a lot more privatization going forward. I was just in India, and they have a $1 trillion infrastructure plan and hopes and desires going forward. And I think they'll have to use a lot of private P3 or public-private partnerships to get it done.
Because it's very clear there is worldwide a huge need for increased investment in infrastructure and all kinds of things, in transport, health, sanitation, energy, wherever you want to look.
You name it.
And yet the money isn't available to do it. And I'm thinking perhaps specifically in the United States at the moment.
Infrastructure investment in the U.S. specifically has been pretty darn slow. The stimulus package that came out a couple of years ago, in our opinion, was light on the infrastructure, especially strategic infrastructure. If you take a look at China, they put about $1 trillion into infrastructure, and to me it looks very strategic. What we did was a lot of repair and a lot of fix-up and a lot of asphalting of roads, and you see a lot of cones around, a lot of activity, but not too much strategic. So the U.S. certainly needs to do more.
And actually some of the projects that were on stocks in the US have actually been cancelled, haven't they?
They've been cancelled or delayed for so long it feels like a cancellation. So
what can be done? Do you favour this idea of setting up a new infrastructure bank, for example?
Well, to me it's not probably large enough. That's my own fund, so I'm kind of ambivalent on it, to tell you the truth right now. We'll see if it happens or not. It's not enough. I think we thought we put $900 billion into infrastructure, and we really put a little over $100 billion, which for 50 states, when you divide it out, it was spread kind of like peanut butter.
But there is also tremendous pressure against adding to the budget deficit any further or paying for...
And we're entering something called an election year, so we'll see what happens there. Usually not a lot happens during an election year.
So in terms of finding a solution to this issue, then you're not terribly hopeful?
Well, the privatization, as I mentioned once before, is starting to creep in. There's examples of it in Texas and Illinois and a few places, and so I think our industry is sort of gearing up for it, trying to figure out how to bring in equity and to invest ourselves in privatization. So I think there's some hope there.
And in some ways it's surprising, isn't it, how slow the US has been to accept privatization. Actually, it's progressed a lot faster in a lot of other places around the world.
It's always been surprising to me.
But you think maybe now some of that momentum...
Well, I think we'll have to. There's like no choice.
You're involved in a couple of, or more than a couple, several very high-profile projects around the world.
We are.
Things that there's a lot of interest in.
Yeah.
Perhaps the highest profile of all is the Panama Canal expansion. Tremendous global focus on that. It's going to be a very kind of transforming event for the world economy when that gets completed. How's that project going?
Well, it's going well. You're right, I'm a civil engineer, and that's what you dream of, is working on something like the Panama Canal. This is really actually a new lane. They call it the widening or expansion, but it's a new lane. There are existing 2 lanes now. They're about 100 foot wide each. This will be about 180 feet wide, and it's for the large Panamax ships, which hold 14,000 containers. Most of it's Asian ships heading to the U.S., Europe, and the Middle East. So it's a stimulus for the whole world economy, really.
And that's still on time?
Yep. We'll get her done in 2014. That's the promise, and we're working towards that.
Lee McIntyre, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it. Thanks.